guess I would like to have something that's also for parents. Because whenever they think of their children going into art, they're like, oh, I don't want my child to be a starving artist, you know. So I think that parents also need to be a part of programs in order to get that aspect. Okay, maybe my child actually is, you know, going into what they feel is right, and they might actually have a chance, you know, of making some kind of income.
Think about what you said about educating parents.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Because I get a lot of phone calls from parents of prospective students at our college, and the phone calls usually sound like this. My daughter is so talented, but I don't, creative, but I don't want her to starve. And I feel like there's this long-standing liberal arts education tradition that's very old and comes from a time when college was something that wasn't for everybody. It was really for the leisure class, and especially liberal arts education was, you're going to think about some important things, and you're going to learn about how to think about them, and it's so that you can, you know, have this very broad education that has nothing to do with the experience of sort of the rest of the world, which is more of an apprenticeship style, right? So if you think back, you know, 100 years ago, that's how education was separated out, and especially in an economy like ours, but you know, more recently in the last 15 or 20 years probably, even liberal arts programs have had to really position themselves in ways where you're tying those threads together for your students in terms of, you know, what is having a complex understanding of the world? What does the education have to do with your potential employment? And how do you work forward from that so that you're not working backwards from, you don't want to work backwards from a very specific job, because that prepares you only for that very specific job. And we have an economy right now where, you know, it doesn't work that way anymore. You don't work in the same job for, you know, 30 or 40 years and then you get your gold watch and a nice retirement. You know, everybody has to strategize, and I think artists in particular tend to be innovators. They've always been innovators, and in terms of getting yourself some kind of employment or support, especially are innovators in that. And so learning to be an innovator actually brings you back to this idea of how to think, how to strategize, how to problem solve. And suddenly that type of education, like having an education where not just using one tool, but learning how to problem solve becomes important again.